Hey guys and gals, Demox7643. So, this party showed up last night in my arena, and I thought I'd try to run a recording on it. It's really funny too because I got a notification I wasn't thinking, and so this has got to be two parts just to protect it, but I'll show you kind of how it works. I gave the tech to DR there, and then I did lightning first just to put up the shocks, trying to deal with this and bait out the cleanse. And I got it, and then I feared GBA, and I still couldn't get the fractures, so I passed to GBA to cleanse buffs, and I still couldn't fracture, so I was getting frustrated. I was like, well, what do? I'll basic him, and I'll put a buff immunity on him that way. And then I was like, well, okay, I don't have a tank anymore, so I passed the healing tech over to GBA, and then I finally could fracture Supreme Leader, and of course, then this thing plays out okay. And that's where the first video ends. And then we'll pick it up here after the fracture. And I resummon my GBA. And then I was like, okay, now what do I need to do? Well, let's toss a lightning one more time because we got to stay on him, because if he comes out, he's going to do his ultimate. And that just absolutely rains heck on our parade. So I just kind of stayed the course. Kept going ham on Supreme Leader Kylo Ren until that happened. Then I knew I was in a pretty comfortable zone because he's down into the low red health, and Thrawn is almost dead there. I mean, he just barely hung on for this one. So I was pretty thankful and fortunate that things worked out okay. And of course, once Kylo's dead, then it's just not that big of a deal, or so you think, because now there's a big timeout threat with this team. Because you can see the heal tech is on General Grievous over there, and that's no joke. That med pack is the real deal, and you guys will see here in a minute. I throw it on auto, and it just takes forever to chew through Grievous until the end. So if you see this team out there, be wary, be mindful, save those fears from BSF for the brute, because you got to be able to get around it. Because even with fracture on him, this thing was ugly. I mean, you'll see I'll do almost no damage to him for a while. It's 239 when this thing starts. And let's see how long it takes on auto to cut through him. Just unbelievable to me. Anyway, it's a pretty tricky team with the Watt and the General Grievous and the B1. I guess I expected it to be tough with GBA because, I mean, I'm obviously aware of his power, seeing as that I'm using Geo Brood Alpha to kill all the galactic legends myself. But I really did not expect Grievous to last this long at the end. So just a PSA, if he gets that medpack tech on him, he's a heck of a brute to take out because he cleanses himself all the time, you know? So, yeah, and this is with fracture, mind you. So that's just crazy to me that he just heals this much. Here we are down at, what, 150 here. And, I mean, we're getting there, but this is on auto, folks. I mean, they're using every special they can to try to chew through them, and it just takes a while. So make sure that you do not tarry on this squad either. Treat it like a Rey, a Galactic Legend Rey team, and really just be decisive with your moves, because you don't want to end up timing out on the guy. I'm pretty sure that I don't quite get down to a minute, but yeah, see, after this, I think it's going to be all right pretty soon. But you can see all that healing that happens. We go through a second fracture, and he's still alive. And then we finally get him down at a minute 16. So anyway, there's that. And then I did also want to go and look at this team too, because there's been a lot of hemming and hawing about this team, and it is tricky, and you have to respect it, but you can certainly defeat it. This Jedi Knight, this Galactic Legend Rey and GK and DR and General Skywalker and Watt team, I mean, it's pretty tough. So pass tech to BSF here, and then you put fear on GK, and then you lightning, and that allows you to get at Rey and fracture her, and then you stay on her until she gets into ultimate land. And it's not super fun, really. I mean, this one you got to be decisive. I just use basics and insanity. Insanity is the only special that I really use until I get her into her invulnerability with Deathmark there. And then once that happens, you're able to just bide your time, for lack of better words, because you're not going to do anything to her. It's just, I hate this kit so much. It is so frustrating to fight against. It's just maddening. I mean, it's not creative. It's just stupid. I don't like it one bit. So you just have to stay the course here. I passed it to GBA just to make sure that I could resummon a Brute when she comes out and does her lovely Whirlwind and Ultimate shenanigans. And I passed a shock back over on GK. I did not want him doing anything because, of course, he can cleanse all the debuffs too. So you got to be mindful of him. And then, yeah, I feared him. And that's just to get it dealt with, because you do not want that guy cleansing off all the debuffs after she pops out of her lovely ultimate stance there. And then you're back on Rey, and you're just really trying to get to this fracture here. And then once that happens, then it's pretty elementary. You can just stay the course and bring her down. It takes a while, but with fracture on, she doesn't get that permanent critical hit immunity from GK. And then once the death mark is on, then you don't need to worry about GK as much, because even if he's taunting with death mark, you can target Rey and bring her down. So that's pretty much the strategy. I've shown in a couple different videos here, and she's going to go ahead and do this lovely trick here. Right here, we're going to have to go to BSF, and then she's going to kill Rey. And that's all she wrote, so we didn't have to deal with 2 ultimates, but still, it's pretty hairy. And then here, you know, you really do want to try to get at Jedi Knight Revan, but here I was so close, I just triggered Savior. I figured, well, I have 2 minutes and 21 seconds on the clock. It really is tricky to get to Revan first so that you don't trigger that Savior, because when Revan isn't in the leader slot, if you kill him first, he can't save himself. So you can get rid of the Savior quickly that way, but it never seems to work out that way for me. I always need to end up triggering the Savior on GK. So call it what it is. It's going to take me a few minutes to get through them, but once you get to this stage of the game, it's a one board at this point. I mean, it's very, very difficult for the opponent to come back and defeat you at this stage of the game. So you can see that gas goes down here, and then GK is going to drop here shortly, and then it's just going to be Revan left, and you just need to wait him out in his invulnerability, and that's all she wrote. You're all done. So anyway, I thank you guys for watching my videos. I really appreciate all you folks, and hope that you have a safe and happy Saturday here, and until the next video, Denny out.